Hello and welcome to the first of hopefully many tutorials, walkthroughs, guides, whatever the hell you call this video series. Ever since I started playing Crusader Kings back in 2015 in what is close to 4,000 hours of gameplay, I have never played a more challenging and nevertheless interesting achievement. The achievement A Servant No More requires of you to play as Munis al-Mufasa of Galilee in 867, become an emperor, and have at least 100 realm size. Al-Mufasa was undoubtedly chosen for this achievement due to him being one of the only playable characters to start off as a eunuch. The lack of an appendage makes accomplishing this achievement with a hole-in-one a difficult task. So with this guide I hope to guide beginners and intermediate players to give some ideas on how to fulfill this in the quickest and most enjoyable ways. Before we start, here's a list of DLCs I used. And while you're still here, leave a like, comment and subscribe and ring that bell button. Also, join the Discord server link here or in the description below to chat and hang out with me and others to talk about this achievement and any other achievements covered in my other videos. Alright, back to the video. My strategy somewhat relies on using the Monks and Mystics DLC and bits of Jade Dragon, but you shouldn't turn back now just because you don't have those. This video will contain information that'll be useful for anyone interested in achievement hunting in Crusader Kings 2. Now onto the strategy. Once you've loaded up your game as Mufasa, look around to your neighbours and look for their military strength. If they have less troops than you, keep an eye on them as they'll be prime candidates for your first invasion. Check your characters for any immoral traits, proud, envious, etc. If ever you get an event that gives you an option to get immoral traits, take it. Getting an immoral trait is what's required in the first step of this strategy. If Mufasa doesn't get an immoral trait, send him on Hajj. There is a 33% chance they'll become proud as a result. If you don't get any immoral traits in under 10 years, then this guide probably won't have as much information that'll be as use to you, and the game will be more difficult as a result. If and when Mufasa does get the proud trait, and you have the Monks and Mystics DLC, join Lucifer's Own as quickly as humanly possible. Seriously, for your pride, for everything you need down there, boy. Now, we should get to the ambition you should pick, since you not only want to get 100 realm size as quickly as humanly possible, but you may also want to fulfill the prerequisite for creating a kingdom. You probably want to pick Ask a Liege for title. Now, you might be saying, but sire, my liege doesn't look the look of me mug. Well, luckily enough for you, the guy in the council you keep forgetting about, the Chancellor, can fix it for you. Yeah, that guy. If you increase your relations high enough, your liege might just accept. And if he doesn't, you can just kill him. It all works out in the end. Now for the focuses. There are two focuses you should keep your eye on, theology and intrigue. As you may have noticed, the Conquest Casus Belli requires 50 piety, and since you aren't growing piety out of your ass, you might want to take theology for the occasional repeatable event chain that gives you a whopping 100 piety every time it comes up. It's also a good idea to keep a pool of piety for when you create a kingdom. Intrigue is a focus you should be getting later on in the game for maintaining your realm when it gets bigger. You'll notice, especially if you haven't been carefully vetting your vassals, that they'll feel entitled to more of that land that you conquered. If any of these vassals get out of hand, spy on them, get all the dirt you can on them, and either kill them or imprison them. It is advised that you attempt to imprison them if they have at most 2 holdings in their domain, for if they refuse, you can go to war, and when you succeed you can revoke both holdings and potentially banish them and take all their cash, which you can then use to hire more mercenaries and repeat the process. Though this is more of a stopgap solution, and it is generally a good idea to vet for young and content applicants to give your counties and duchies to. As you know, the achievement requires at least 100 realm size. Realm size is calculated by the amount of holdings, like baronies, bishoprics, and cities one has in their kingdom. You may find yourself in a desperate situation to claim more land, and the people you wish to take land from have a truce with you. One way to deal with this is to assassinate the ruler you have a truce with. Truces are bound to the ruler, not the nation that you invaded. As you play the game, you might want to remind yourself of the kingdom creation prerequisites. You need 100 piety, 51% of de jure counties in the created kingdom, and at least 2 duchies, which don't have to be de jure, and 200-ish gold. Getting to know your enemies is extremely vital in the first steps to your strategy, as it will determine how quickly you can get the achievement before you embrace the meet your maker. Because of information I have gathered in these first steps, I was able to acquire some of the best counties owned by my neighbours. Though of course your game may not be as fortuitous as mine, and your enemies might have taken advantage of your greatest weakness and married into several alliances. In this case, I advise you hire loads of mercenaries and start weaning off your dependency on levies, as they are not only more powerful than your average levies, but they also ignore the cannot declare war if we have raised levies prerequisite. This should hopefully allow you to blitzkrieg through your enemies before their allies can do anything substantial to you. So where do I attack? When determining who your opponents are, you should check for their military strength, highest concentration of holdings, look to see if they have any alliances with anyone of note, and also check if they have a truce with you. Now for the meat and bones of this strategy. Here's the step that really counts towards getting this achievement. If you are unable to join Lucifer's Own in under 20 years and you don't see yourself reaching 100 realm size conventionally, I would advise you restart. So I hear you asking, why should I join Lucifer's Own? You want to join Lucifer's Own because of the intrigue ability bonuses it adds, Grandmaster abilities, diplomatic boons for obedient members, and extra abilities like Abduct. And the best of all of them, dark healing. Of course, joining comes with its downsides. Every once in a while, you will suffer from a persistent effect that will give you bad personality traits or negative genetic mutations. This would be bad, but it wouldn't be the end of the world, or the game for that matter, considering this achievement is solely focused on one character. The most obvious boon, not only to your intrigue stat, but to all of your stats, is the Summon Familiar ability that you get at rank 2. The best familiar, the cat, gives you 3 intrigue, which is astoundingly high for 1 boon to an attribute. The Go on a Venture event chain is also very useful for increasing intrigue, as it may give you the Impaler lifestyle trait, which gives you 2 intrigue. There are some useful abilities as a member of Lucifer's Own. Ultimately, the reason for joining Lucifer's Own is the ability Dark Healing, which allows you to finally grow up here and ultimately end your reliance problem. Now, every once in a while, your liege may want some land off of you, or may imprison you for no apparent reason. If you feel sufficiently pissed off, here are a couple of ways you can deal with your annoying boss. You could plot to assassinate him, though this should be done as a counselor, most preferably the spy master. Spy on him using intrigue. You could ignore him, he could slip and fall before you can give him the title, or alleviate your losses, attempt to take de jure counties and duchies and kingdoms that your liege is interested in, and create new titles if your liege is only taking your top tier title. Here's what I accomplished by April the 15th, 884, at the age of 39. Marriages, alliances, and kingdoms. Now that you've had your sword returned to you, you can now bed your way to victory. To anyone who isn't swordless, marriage is an option that can turn the tide of any battle, regardless of how powerful your enemies, if you marry the right person. It can also be useful for anyone planning on changing their religion, especially since this guide implies you are creating the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which can only be done if you follow Christ's religion. In my game, my criteria for marriage were as follows. The realm should be militarily powerful, should be difficult to vassalize, for if they can be vassalized, you might as well vassalize them yourself, and the realm should be in the Abbasid Empire. For your 4th marriage, you should marry a Christian kingdom. Remember that Christian wife I just told you to marry? She is going to save you from your woes. Through the secretly convert to spouse religion mechanic, you can now commit yourself to the service of Christ. For a couple of days, of course, while you create the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Now that you've created the Kingdom of Jerusalem, you notice the massive surplus of piety in your possession. You can now use this to convert yourself back to Sunni Islam. If you have good relations with your liege, you'll now see him shower you with some free vessels. From this point on, the game gets way easier. Since you're a king now, you are now capable of taking duchy tier titles by proxy. You may now grant some spare counties to prospective duchy claimants and seek your newfound kingdom on your unsuspecting foes. Once you have found yourself with more than 50% of de jure land in another kingdom, take this opportunity to create this kingdom before your liege does, as he will do the same thing that he did before and give you more de jure vassals. While you're doing this, you should fabricate a claim on the Empire of the Abbasids. Empire. This is the last step, seriously. If you are having problems fabricating a claim on the Abbasid Empire, find 3 suitable candidates for the plot, spy on them for the chances that you'll imprison them, attempt to abduct using the Lucifer's Own ability, and invite them to Lucifer's Own. If you imprison one of these candidates, induct them into the cult. Once you have 3 of these candidates recruited to Lucifer's Own, all you need to do now is to brute force the plot. There is no cooldown to the plot, and the only downside to failing is a negative opinion modifier. Now that you have a plot in the Empire, ensure that you have enough cash for mercenaries and that you and your children are married to allies with lots of manpower. With these things out of the way, all you need to do is either start the faction to press your claim or directly attack the Empire. The choice is yours. And now with all of this out of the way, you should be the Caliph. Congratulations! You just managed to overcome one of the most tiresome achievements in the game. Yay. Thanks for watching the video in its entirety. I hope it wasn't too long. Anyways, if you wish to support this channel, leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and ring that bell button to stay notified if I release any videos in the future. If you wish to follow me on social media, all the relevant links are in the description below. I will be coming out with another video in a couple of weeks, probably another achievement videos, but who knows. Anyways, thanks for watching.